and on the September 11th Victims Compensation Fund. Now, as a Democrat in her fourth term in Congress, her silver-tongued legal talents were on full display for the world to see throughout the Trump impeachment trial, even slipping a few profound rap lyrics into her arguments before the Senate. Now, that's gotta be a first. Delegate Stacey Plaskett, you are the Ego Podcast Human Being of the Week. Let's give it up for Stacey, y'all. Want the job done right, send a black woman to do it, right?
There you go.
And I am super excited to have a panel full of black women to talk about no edges and no holds barred. We're going to get real talking about black women and the politics of our hair. Everybody has something to say about our hair, so why not we have a panel and we discuss it ourselves. Before we get into this, I want you to take this number down, 410-822-3733. That's 410-822-free. That's the number to call to weigh in, whether you're a black woman, whether you're a white woman, whether you're a man, whoever wants to weigh in on this topic. If you have questions or comments, please, we cannot have a conversation without you. Now let's look at these beautiful black women of all various hair textures and complexions and whatnot. We have Nicola Morgan joining us today. Also in the studio, Miss Lakia Diggs, professional hairstylist. I don't have hair, but if I had hair, you do my hair. As a matter of fact, you did my fake hair a couple of days ago. I got a wig cut, and she did that day. Lakia's that girl. We have Kristin M Young also in here. And joining us, I call them the lovely ladies of Zoom, we have Elle Dennis and Kelly Maven. How you ladies feeling today?
Hey, very good.
Awesome,
Wonderful.
Awesome. Can you just give our egomaniacs who may not be familiar with you and what you do, just a little brief synopsis of who you are? And we can start with Nicola.
Hello, I'm Nicola Morgan. I'm a mom of 3. I'm 42 years old. I'm a subcontract manager. I'm married. I cater on the side, and that's about it.
All righty.
Well, I'm Lakia. I'm a licensed cosmetologist in Maryland, and I do a little bit of everything in the industry. I do a bunch of freelancing work. I do fashion shows. I do bridal. I do TV and production. So a little bit of everything. So yeah.
Love it, love it. Hello, everyone. I am a wife, a mother, an actress, and event manager.
And a radio personality.
And a radio personality.
We can't leave that out, ma'am.
A performer, entertainer, all of that, yes.
Okay, Elle.
Hey, I'm Elle. You can usually find me under my Instagram handle, Do Black, promoting black-owned brands. I also blogged about hair for a pretty long time.
And last but not least, the beautiful Kelly.
Hey, I'm Kelly, founder and CEO of Kelly Maven Media, marketing public relations firm. I'm a mom, a Jill of many trades, and I've had locks for almost 12 years. I've been dealing with a lot of hair. I'm ready to talk about it.
Yes.
Yes, you have a lot of hair, and it is gorgeous. So,
Thank you.
We are starting this show off and this week off with a major what had happened was, okay? Unless you have been living under a rock or just off the internet altogether, then you already know the situation with Tessica Brown, who was dubbed AKA Gorilla Glue Girl, and she had this mishap. She wanted to slick her ponytail down, and she didn't have any hair gel, she didn't have any hairspray, so homegirl decided to use Gorilla Glue. And I want to get everybody's initial reaction to the story when you first heard it, you first saw it, you first found out about it. What was your reaction?
How did you do that?
How did you do that?
How do you make mistakes happen? I get it, but Gorilla Glue, and my understanding is that it was mistaken for the Gorilla Snot gel or something to that degree. But I'm just like, where did you pick up the can? Did you already have it in your home, or did you go to the store? Because there's nowhere in any hair store you're going to find that. So she said she ran out of one hairspray and defaulted to that. So I'm still just trying to understand how did you get that can in your hand and say, let me spray this in my hair?
Okay, anybody else?
Yeah, I thought what she thought. I thought that she thought it was the Gorilla Snot, and she made a mistake. I didn't know that she purposely used Gorilla Glue. Yes, no way.
Miss Hairstylist? I see your face, so I'm waiting for the words to come out of your mouth.
It's so triggering. Like you cannot find Gorilla Snot and Gorilla Spray in the same aisle at all, even in the same store, really. But I don't understand how that confusion could have happened. And my reaction was twofold. Like I felt that way, but I also felt like, okay, she's probably one of these young girls, you know, that saw something and she did it and was completely regretful after she had that experience. But then when I learned that she was 40 and had, you know, 6 kids and she teach or she's an educator or something, I'm like, okay, I can't even pardon it. You know, I can't even excuse it. Like 40 and 6, like if you have 6 children, you have 6 children. You have
Sharon.
Yeah, like how? Like how? So I don't have I didn't have anything further to say about it other than it was just completely foolish. And yeah.
My Zoom ladies?
Just why? I just can't. Like, I don't know. I know I'm really careful about my hair, so I don't think that I would even think to even try that. So it's just not a possibility.
Okay, Kelly?
I definitely was like, why, how? Because I had never heard of the Gorilla Snot stuff. I'm way out of jail, years removed.
Right.
And then when I saw the bottles, I said, okay, that's possible, but they wouldn't be together.
Right, right.
So did she think just because Gorilla, maybe it's in the same family, you know? I started to kind of go down that path. You know, her age and everything definitely came to mind. But I'm like, Floyd Mayweather has 6 kids. He can't read. Fantasia has multiple children. She can't read. So, you know, things happen. So my mindset is partially she probably thought that she could do it because it was an adhesive, less of it being a totally innocent mistake. I think that she thought it was in the same family and just assumed that, you know, that she could do it. But yeah, I was definitely taken aback.
There was this narrative on social media amongst black women that I found very interesting because black women seem to be polarized on this topic of Tessica Brown and the Gorilla Glue. There were some who was just like, she's dumb, I don't feel sorry for her. I'm in that camp, okay? That's me, no remorse. I'm a little bit cynical. I feel like it was all a part of her plan, which she is milking till the end right now. And I'm not mad at that, but let's just be honest about what it is.
Right.
In the words of Iyanla Vanzant, let's call a thing a thing. That's the camp that I'm on. But then there were other black women who felt that black women were being particularly hard on Tessica Brown because she is a black woman and that we don't give black women enough grace. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think we were too hard on Tessica Brown? Or do you think if Tessica Brown had been Tessica White, Tessica Yellow, Tessica Red, you know, that we would still feel the same way about this?
I definitely think it was, regardless of color, regardless of race, you know, regardless of sex, it was a silly move. And unfortunately, we've seen a couple of repeats that have happened. Unfortunately, they are all black. But you know, I don't think in this particular case, the narrative would have been any different.
Yeah, I felt both ways. I believe in, you know, you play stupid tricks, you win stupid prizes. So
Exactly.
so I agree to that degree, but I also feel like I don't think she initially did it for what it turned into. I think she made the stupid decision. It ended up getting posted, and it became something that she took advantage of it at that point.
Okay.
But I personally don't think that she did it for the attention.
Okay.
Because people do stupid stuff all the time. If you watch Raimondo videos or you know whatever, people do stuff all the time. I see it because I do hair, so I always see people do things. So that's nothing compared to what the things I've seen. So I think it just morphed into something else bigger, and she milked it. So personally, that's what I think.
Okay. And once again, you can call in at 410-822-3733. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to this podcast. And if you have any comments and don't feel comfortable calling in, you can also leave your comments in the comment section on YouTube or Facebook. We will do our very, very best to get to it. Now, talk about playing stupid games and winning stupid prizes. We are all black women with black hair. I'm sure we've tried some stuff that has gone wrong. Have you tried any hair hacks that went absolutely wrong, and what were they?
I definitely did. I told a story about it recently. But I did want to answer your previous question about the response. Is that okay?
Sure.
So I don't even, I didn't respond to what I thought was the impetus for what happened, or what I thought was what about the outcome, like she has blue hair, was that stupid or not? I specifically responded to things about her being called names and things of that nature. Whether she was black or any of that. We know that a lot of people don't give black women grace. Mm-hmm. But my question for people be like, what do you gain from speaking about her in that way? They always say the things that you say is a reflection of you. Mm-hmm. So it was hard for me to see this girl who had glue in her hair, woman, as people like to be clear, she was 40, this woman. And then, for people all day long, stupid, dumb, just so much vitriol. Mm-hmm. I'm never comfortable seeing that. And I don't understand how people are. So I was in that camp.
Okay.
That, it didn't matter, what she had actually done. The response to it made me uncomfortable. But doing something dumb. I put peroxide in my hair when I was 11 years old, underneath my bangs so my mother couldn't see. I sprayed stunning in my hair. I went to boarding school with a bunch of white girls, and they were sprayed in their hair, and it lightened their hair, which is fine. I get to college, I'm like, I'm going to try it. Spray the sun in my hair, it's wet, I'm blow drying it, and I noticed the blow dryer is going back further and further, and I look, and I just got little sticks sticking up from the front of my hair. I took out the front left side of my hair. I almost took out the whole left side, because in my mind, it's just not registering to me for a second that my hair is coming out. And I had to go through, braiding my hair for 6 months, cutting it and all this for it to catch up. It was really bad. Yes, it was a hair product, but it wasn't for my hair. And I should have consulted with somebody before I put that in my hair. But I can't imagine putting on social media, I put any of things that happen in my life, and then strangers who don't know me, and then it gets that was stupid, that's for white girls, and just starting to dog me. And this don't have nothing to do with them. They don't got to pay for nothing. So for me, I don't understand it.
I understand it. And I understand it because social media is a social tool. Mm-hmm. So when you place something on social media, you place it on social media for the sole purpose of other people seeing it, other people weighing in, other people commenting. And that's why I question her sincerity, because if she was that distraught about her hair and she really wanted to figure it out, phone a friend, goddammit. Call a hairstylist. A hairstylist. Go to the emergency room. But to put it on social media and say, I didn't want the attention, I believe that's a complete and utter lie.
That's not something I can challenge. I don't.
Anything on social media for any reason, at some very basic level, we want eyes on us. At some very basic level, we want attention, because as a public personality, I place things on social media. But the things that mean the most to me, the things that I hold the most sacred, the things that I really want to protect, that I don't want people commenting on, never makes it to social media. So, maybe there's an in-between her being none the wiser and having this plan that she was just mapping out or whatever, but I cannot say that I believe that she did not want some attention from this.
But that's not what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Why responding to it, all those kind of things, but why try to justify being evil about it?
Oh no.
We can't justify being evil about it, but that's social media. Anytime you put anything out.
Social media is a platform. That's personality. It's just a place where you express it. Social media doesn't make you evil. It doesn't make you say negative things about people. That's where you go to do it.
I think people
That's
can
the thing.
feel like they can say that though because it's on social media and they don't have to say it to someone's face. They can hide behind their computer.
That's definitely a piece of it.
And I also think, like, what are the levels to evil? Because in this day and age, anything that's somebody's honest opinion is deemed as evil now. When no, I'm just being honest. Like, I think Jessica Brown did a stupid thing. That's not evil. That's just honest. And if Jessica Brown were sitting on a stage right now, I would look at her and say, sis, that was dumb as hell, because that's my personality. And that doesn't necessarily make it evil. Now, I heard stories of her getting death threats and all of that. Now, to me, that's crazy. That's evil. But just because something is something that we disagree with, just because it's something that isn't in the presentation that is palatable to us, I don't think necessarily makes it evil. I think we
You
have
just
to
listed
be
the evil
very
things
careful.
though. The death threats. Those things are evil.
Right. Well, I
So
said
that's what
I
I'm saying.
heard
Like
about
that's
things.
evil about some hair that's glued down.
I
Now
heard
calling people
about
dumb
those
and stuff like
things.
that.
I
People
didn't
say
see
that
them
in
myself.
conversation.
I heard about those things. I did not see them myself. But I will say, if that took place, then that's evil, and I don't understand why all of that.
Yeah, that's
because
That's extreme.
honestly, she really didn't hurt anybody but herself. And if you want to be technical about it, ultimately society, because anytime people get behind stupid shit and it just duplicates, then that just dumbs down society. But it's not like a clear and present danger to society.
Right.
Okay, anybody else have any hair hacks that went wrong?
I honestly didn't. I've been doing hair my whole life, so I was very careful with my hair. The most I've ever done probably was putting rods in the microwave and put it in my hair and making a ponytail, but I never done anything
But you
to
did
my
to
hair.
your hair. You were
No.
smart.
Yeah,
I cut my own
I care too
bangs.
much about my hair.
I cut them all the way up here. Permed and dyed my hair the same day. All this came out.
Oh my goodness.
So I've definitely done stupid stuff.
What about you, Kristen?
I've done some lazy stuff. So, like, for example, after giving birth, I had no idea that your hair sheds and all this kind of. Nobody told me about that. So that was in a process where, because while going through pregnancy, that's when I transitioned from getting relaxers. So I was going natural, going through pregnancy, going through postpartum, hair shedding. I was wearing wigs because I was transitioning. So then at one point my hair just got incredibly matted. And when I went to wash my hair, I didn't like comb it out and all that. I just started washing my hair, and it started it was mega matted. And I was just like, okay, I'm trying to pluck it out. I'm like, what is going on? So eventually it was I went to my hairstylist, and she was like, you're getting a cut today. So it was crazy because it was like all up at the top. So I wound up having to cut it into like this mullet type thing. And this was
Shoot.
I put them wigs right back on because literally, like she said, my bangs were like up here, and it was long. And I said, no, let's get them wigs back. Let me find a new wig and work it out till this grows out. It was rough, but that was just I just didn't know. I had no idea.
I've done stupid things to my hair, but not like instantly stupid. I've done like damaging things over a period of time to my hair. Like I've always been a fashion person. Okay. So I've always, the latest hairstyle, I had it. From a jerry curl to dreadlocks to weaves down my butt and my back or what have you. So when they had like the bonded tracks, because it looked more natural and stuff, I was up there putting glue in my hair myself and tacking it or whatever. And when it's time to take it out, of course, I'm doing the oil sheen and pulling and just like ripping my hair out, not realizing that over a period of time that I was damaging my hair. Gotcha. And I would get the Indian hair weaves or whatever, and I had to go to the hairdresser, and I got them done all the time because I like the way they look, not because I ever felt that I needed them. Like I never felt that I needed to meet a certain beauty standard because I always just wore any kind of hairstyle that I felt like wearing. But to achieve that particular style, I would do anything to achieve that style. honey, sew it up as tight as you need to sew it, do what you need to do. And as a result, even though I can still grow a full head of hair, I have thinner edges, like all around here is thin because I abused my hair and I ripped my edges out. So
Gotcha.
that's what I've done to my hair over a period of time. But at the same time, it's still my fault because I did not do the research. I didn't talk to the people that I needed to talk to. I was a teenager or I was early 20 something, like, yeah, girl, I need to get this style. And that was that. I want you specifically, to talk about, do you feel that the things that we Black women and Tessica Brown as well did is a result of trying to meet European beauty standards, or do you think that it's just more of a fashion over function type of thing?
I love that question. Because I think it varies from person. Some people wear styles or extensions or whatever that looks like for fashion or an accessory, you know, because even with myself, even though I wear a weave, my hair's down my back. So I don't have to wear a weave. I do it because I like the options. I don't have to wear it. I love my Black self. I love my natural Black hair. I just choose to accessorize. It's not a necessity, it's an accessory. So when I talk to clients or people who inquire about services, I want to see where they are mentally with how they feel. So some people have, again, they had the misconception of people wearing straight hair, blowouts or weaves, or even blonde hair to she's trying to be European looking or trying to meet these standards or trying to look like girls on social media. That's not always the case. But I do know a lot of women who do struggle with meeting a standard that they feel like they have to be in. So I think that it has to be a grace to get to know what that individual person, where she is mentally and emotionally, and then apply that to where she is and not box all Black women into, you know, that standard or that misconception of, you know, just generalizing that.
The rest of the ladies, how do you feel about it as far as your friend group and women that you know?
I honestly,
There's just a lack of education out there for a lot of us. Someone else said they grew up around white people, and then when you're around white girls all the time, you don't really understand that we can't do our hair the same way that they do. So I was doing a lot of the same thing, like putting bleach in my hair, like in relaxed hair, and that's just super damaging. And we just had no idea. And I don't think it's necessarily like trying to be white, but if that's what you're around, that's what you know, and you don't have someone to be that source of knowledge for you, you just don't understand. Like I self-taught myself about my hair later. I was trying to figure out what to say. But then after that, then I got, you know, my hair started being a lot healthier because I knew how to care for it. It wasn't that I didn't like my hair before. I just didn't know. I had no idea.
Yeah, for me, it definitely had to do with a conditioning. It wasn't like aware, but it was all around me, having straight hair and everything like that. My mother's Puerto Rican, quick blow dry. Her hair was always long and straight. And she actually really didn't even like to wear it curly like that. So we had the hot combs and all those things. I liked how my hair transformed when other things were done to it. I didn't know why, because I wanted to be like a white girl, but since that was the standard that you kind of saw all the time, that was nice. For me, I feel like I was conditioned. So it wasn't until literally probably like 15 years ago when I decided that, okay, I want locks. My sister had them. Then I went natural. But while I'm natural, what am I doing? Braiding my hair, putting weaves in it, because I didn't know what to do to wear it natural. And to me, it was ugly. And so I get locks. Still was like, you know, twisting them all the time, making sure they were neat, until one of my friends, shout out to Marcia, she told me, like, you gotta fall in love with your roots.
Yep.
Like, when they're not twisted, when you look like Lil Wayne, just the way your hair is growing out of your head, that's when you'll really fall in love with your hair. And then I had to start doing that, stop twisting all the time, and just touch my roots. So it took me some time to get comfortable with my texture and just letting my hair be.
What about you, Nicola?
For me, it was corporate.
Can we turn Nicola's mic up? Because it's very hard to hear her.
For me, it was corporate.
Okay.
So everyone around me was white.
Right.
So in order for me to move up and be successful, I couldn't have the wild, bushy, twisted hair. I couldn't have tattoos and piercings. I had to fit in. Code switch, kind of, sort of.
Right. Mhm.
So I wasn't comfortable not pressing my hair or not wearing a weave. But finally, I got to a point where I started to wear braids. I started to, get my tattoos. Well, I wear my twist outs now. But it definitely took time, but I had to be comfortable with myself to be able to walk into work with my hair out to here. Because not everybody does that,
Speaking from that corporate perspective, do you feel that pressure was something that you put on yourself, or do you feel like it was an unwritten, unspoken rule that if you don't fall in line with the common, standard for
both.
hair is,
both.
that you won't move up the ladder?
It's both.
It's both?
I still feel like at work, even though I'm good at my job, I'm great.
You better tell it. She said, I'm great.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah, I'm great. They still see me as black first. That's what they see. So,
Yeah.
but I can't change that,
You can't, and I believe that just as we were saying, a lot of the culture and society has often been, as you said, the European standard. So when you think of, for most of us growing up, our hair, nappy was the word. If your hair was natural, it was nappy, and that was not appropriate. So, we had to grow, our mothers were slicking it up, and we had the little twists or the braids or whatever. But, most of us went through that period of getting relaxers because we needed to have that straight, that sleek, that neat hair.
Yep.
And if your hair started to get curly and kinky, it was nappy, and therefore you had to do something about it. And that was the message that I saw and I heard through television. You couldn't have natural hair on television. What we saw was you had to, beauty pageants. You didn't see natural hair in any of these, the few black women that we saw growing up in beauty pageants, and even now, I have to remind myself, because I've been natural for over 10 years at this point, but I still have to think twice if I'm going to a formal event, that doesn't mean I have to straighten my hair.
Wow.
So because I wear my hair, my twist outs and the whole nine, and I'm good with that on an everyday basis. But if it's a more formal event or what have you, it's like, oh, okay, should I straighten my hair for this? Because that's the
standard.
That's still the standard, and that mentality.
And we
Can
were
I
asked on
can I
one
say something
call-
about the corporate piece?
Sure.
Because if we talk about the Crown Act, there's literal legislation about our hair.
Right.
I could lose my job having locks. So for me, it's never been like I didn't feel the press for myself to do that, because like she said, if I went on interviews when I had natural hair, straightened it.
Right.
For certain meetings, straightened it. But I did that because it's not just pressure. They look at you different and they treat you differently.
Yeah.
And then we have to have legislation on record in Congress so you don't lose your hair because it's nappy. So it's way beyond a personal thing. It's a real discrimination.
We had a call one time last summer when the whole Black Lives Matter thing took place. And people on the call, not our race, but they said that sometimes our hair made other people feel uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
Wait a minute. Sometimes our hair, black women's hair, makes other people
Feel
uncomfortable.
uncomfortable. And I said, I'm not changing my hair for you. You have to get comfortable.
That's a great answer.
And that segues to what I was about to say. Part of the reason why they called it relaxers or relaxed hair is to make other people feel comfortable. Because anything other than that was aggressive, unkempt. It made people
Untamed.
exactly. So So
Distracting.
I wanted to make that point because a lot of people don't really know that word association and that psychology behind that word, that word selection, you know what I mean?
Relaxer.
Exactly.
And that's really interesting because that takes me back to the civil rights movement and how important a role a hairstyle, the afro, played in that Black Power movement and the Black liberation movement. And when I think back to my family, to my mom's side of the family, my mom was the oldest, and of course she was the first to do everything. She was the first to venture outside of Roanoke, Virginia, and go to the big city and do big city things or whatever. And she was the first in the family to have an afro. And my grandmother, who was like the antithesis of all of that, really had a problem with her afro. Then her brothers and sisters got afros, and it became this thing. But that goes back to what you were saying, because even from dominant culture, but even to family culture, that afro was seen as a symbol of, I can no longer control you. Interesting. So let's talk about men. Okay? we got a little bit of laughter in the audience. Let's talk about men. Even though this is definitely about us, this hair journey is all our own, men still fit in there somewhere. As a person who has had a bajillion hairstyles, I know that I personally get a different response from men based on the hairstyle that I have. Has anyone else on the panel experienced that? And if so, what are the different reactions?
It's interesting. I think it depends on the guy. I mean, there's different guys that tend to be attracted, that are attracted to different things. So I do find that there are certain type of men. Now, granted, I'm married, so
She's married. I'm married.
So I might not be be the one to speak on this completely, but there is a certain type of guy that is tends to be more attracted to that natural hairstyle. So looking for that lady with locks and the afros, and who is comfortable in her own skin, because that tends to be what it symbolizes. When you can wear your natural hair, there's a level of confidence that comes with that.
Okay.
But there are some guys who are looking for that other look, that the look that more sleek, that European, that flowy hair. And again, I think some of that is just what we've always been used to. That's what we were often trained on, having that nice, long, flowy hair.
Anybody else experience different types of attraction to you when your hair is different?
It wasn't really how I wear my hair, but being a professional, I need to know that the person that I'm dealing with, I need to know how they feel about Black hair, because I am in the beauty industry and I service other women, and a lot of their hair choices come from what they're conditioned to have, what they're growing to be, or what they're growing, how they're trying to embrace what they, where they're going. And we don't realize that a lot of men had the same condition we had when it came down to relaxing and straightening.
Yes.
So a lot of them associate their preference with what they're used to seeing. And that's a conditioning that they have as well, but we call it preference. So I need to know how men that I'm dealing with personally, I don't care about nobody else, but because I'm in the industry and I have a deep pride in my industry, that I need to know your respect level in women's choices with their hair, and how much of an opinion you think you have on a woman's choice and how she wears her hair. So it's not really about me personally, how I wear my hair. You got to be okay with me being natural and wearing the curly and me popping in the 30-inch weave. You got to be okay with that. Okay. You got to be okay with me wanting to switch it up, because that's what I do. I sell beauty. I help women feel confident. So, and I exercise choices, and I reinforce that with how I talk to my clients. So I need for you to understand the emotional and mental impact when it comes down to women and how we look at our hair. And you not putting on, like, just adding how you feel to it. I can't be with someone like that. So that's one of the first things I ask a man is, how do you feel about Black hair? Are you gay? How you feel about Black hair? I need to know. I mean, honestly, because it's sensitive to me, because again, I've been doing this 26 years. So how I need to know where you are. And if you don't agree with me or you don't like it, that's fine. We just can't agree. and we can be homegirls, whatever. We just can't move forward in that perspective because I need for you to support me, and I need for you to understand where my love comes from in the industry. So that's what it comes from.
That's
me.
deep.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's deep.
Yeah.
My ladies of Zoom, anybody want to say anything on that? As far
Yeah,
as
I
like,
mean, I know when I first went natural, a lot of men, when they would try to talk to me, they would try to insult women with straight hair, and I didn't think that was right either, because I definitely appreciate the versatility of natural hair. Like right now, my hair is straight. Tomorrow it could be a fro. If I feel like washing my hair, probably not, but it just depends. And then when I straighten my hair, then they kind of are like, oh, I'm glad like so-and-so has straight hair. And I'm like, no, I actually have natural hair, but now you just look dumb. So it's like there's one on one side and one on the other side. I'm just like, just hair. Just let me wear my hair how I want.
what about you, Kelly?
I agree, definitely, because I had the bangs with the weave flowing down my back, and then I was like a baby Bob Marley like the next day. And it was literally a different reaction to me in these streets. And so I was with somebody at the time, luckily, because my self-esteem was low doing that shift as well. I mean, it felt like I was taking my security blanket off
Okay.
when I took that weave off. So definitely different. And like she said, I also get the people who, because now, my locks are palatable. They can be curled and all that. So you'll have men that are like, oh, I'm glad you do your hair, or I'm glad you don't wear weaves and stuff. I'm like, if I shave my head tomorrow, I might have a weave again. I can't rock with this.
What I noticed is when I would wear like weaves or straight styles, it's a certain type of man that I would attract with a certain type of mentality.
Yep.
And I don't want to say it for fear of stereotyping. But that was one type of guy, right? When I wear my afro or some natural, like some obviously natural style, not a blowout or whatever, I get the whole
Here
set.
come the incense.
I get my sister, like,
Black queen, the black queen.
Yes.
I just want to
My
rock
queen,
my afro
yes.
and go about my day. I don't want to hear about bean pie, my
My
brother.
Nubian princess queen.
Yes.
You broke those chains.
Yes, all of that. And with my baldy, I attract everything. White, black, upscale, street, like it doesn't matter. I don't know what it is about this bald head, but it is a universal hairstyle for whatever reason. But that weave brings a certain type of dude out. The obviously natural 4C brings a certain type of dude out. The dreadlocks brought a certain type of dude out. It's really, really interesting. We kind of touched on it, but I want to talk a little bit more about how you feel about the opinions of men on black women's hair, because I'm seeing it a little bit more lately, and maybe it's because like I'm really approaching social media from a studious standpoint. Like people see me on social media all the time. You think I'm just bumping my gums or typing my text fingers. I'm not. Like I'm kind of like really studying people, and it seems like now more than I have ever noticed, men have so much to say about women, about our bodies, about our hair, about what we do with ourselves. And black men seem to have a lot to say about what black women do with our hair. Have you noticed that? Because maybe I'm tripping. Have you noticed it? And if so, how do you feel about it?
I think they have way too much of an opinion on how we, wear our hair or whatever. I think that it's disheartening to me because, it's like we got to fit this mold of whatever their ideology, whatever they think that we should be. And it's like we should be what this person is, when part of being a black woman is that variety, that that individual, that personality, that she is her, she's her, not me. So you can't have this one form of what she looks like and everyone has to conform to what that person is. You can't like a Hispanic woman for being spicy and popping off, but not a black woman for doing the
have
same
an attitude,
thing.
right?
You can't do that.
We talked about that the other day. It's so true.
So you can't say, yeah, I want a woman to be natural, but if she 4C, oh no, that's too nappy. We can't control what grows out of our
Too
head.
natural.
Exactly. So you can't. It's like they think natural when they think a girl that has mixed wavy natural hair, when that's not everyone's texture. You want to decide what that looks like when we can't control what God gave us. So it's like we can't be natural, but we gotta be natural, but not too natural. We gotta be thick, but we can't be fat. We can't be, we
can be black, but not too dark.
No, please don't be too dark. Please God, no. So
please don't be too dark.
God. So it's like it's really hard. So I just don't personally agree with. I feel like when you are in search of the woman that you desire, I believe that you can have your preferences. But I feel like if it's certain things that God gave you, as far as your skin complexion, the way your hair grows, you can't change that.
You can't change it.
So I feel like that preference thing should have a barrier, and you got to realize one thing about it is you having a preference, and then one thing you're just being overly stereotypical. And you got to be able to be realistic as a man to know which is which.
And maybe I'm just not being fair, and I'm not known to be politically correct. I don't care. Deep down in my soul, I don't believe that men that really love women care too much about the itty bitty nuances. I'm like, bruh, why you care about how I'm wearing my hair? Just sit back and get these benefits. You know what I'm saying? Bruh, why do you care about how many inches my waist is? Why do you care about the color of my lipstick? Because men who really love the essence of women don't give a fuck.
And black women. You
And
don't
black
put them down
women.
like that.
Yeah. Yep. So we have a call right now. We're going to go to the phones. Hey, caller. Hello. All right. In the meantime, while we are waiting for that caller, did anybody else want to chime in on like the amount of time and energy that men seem to be giving what black women do with our hair?
I think to a certain degree, some of that is just social media.
Okay.
Because we have access to so many people all the time.
Yes.
Everybody's opinions are, their ego. Everybody's out there.
Everywhere.
It's everywhere all the time. And we have, 5, 6, 7 different social media accounts that we're monitoring all day, every day.
It's all too much, right?
Right. So I think some of that is just because I personally believe that men have always had something to say. They have always dictated what we look like. That's why,
Yes.
the models have always had to be this size 2, again, that European look, long hair, slim body, no shape, because that
Tell
was...
us how you really feel, sis.
Right, but it's true. Men have always dominated the business world, and therefore they dictated, this is what we want in the magazine, this is what we
Yes.
want on stage, this is what we want in the TV show. Men vocalize that. So it took a while for women to start stepping up and saying, hey, wait a minute. When women started being able to, get into those higher management and decision-making positions to say, hey, we have women of all shapes and sizes that are clearly, attracting men.
Yeah.
Clearly size 2 women are not the only ones getting screwed and married. So, clearly there is an attraction to more. So we have to be able to, that representation matters. That we had to start putting that image out there, that there are all women, different hair types, different body types, and they need to be seen, and they are just as beautiful,
And they're
just as sexy.
beautiful.
Absolutely.
All righty, so we're going to try this one more time. Let's go to the phones. Hello, caller. Hello. All right, you can call in at 410-822-3733. That's 410-822-FREE. Today, we are talking no edges and no holds barred. Black women having honest conversation about the politics of our hair. Now, we can't talk about politics and talk about black women and hair without talking about the ways that we also discriminate against each other. And with that, I want to talk about the natural hair care industry, which was grazed upon lightly just a little bit earlier. Is anyone in that world, has anyone had experience with that world? And if so, have you noticed any discrimination within the natural hair care industry?
I see it a lot,
Definitely.
obviously.
Definitely, absolutely.
4C, 4B spectrum on that side of things. First of all, when kind of 10 years ago, when people started like doing videos and tutorials, you didn't see a lot for that particular texture, and then products as well. And so then there became the optic conversation about, you know, certain styles that should be able to wear as the social communities grew. So I would see that, never go too deep into it, but definitely followed and saw the chasms between those spectrums of texture and things of that nature. So, and also, you know, when it comes to locks, so I'm in lock groups, and you know, there's the short locks versus the long locks, and how you wear them. If it's free form, oh my gosh, you know, because free form locks are just how your hair grows. So it's not neat, it's not tamed, and that looks different than someone with mixed or soft hair if they have free form locks.
Right.
So all of this about good hair, bad hair, that conversation comes right over to the natural community that I've seen.
Elle?
Yeah, there used to be like a hair hierarchy when I was really heavy into natural hair. And it was like, if you use gel, you're less than someone that can just use like oil and water. Like, I don't need gel to define my curl pattern because like my hair is good. And it was like this just way to break down each other even more. It was absolutely ridiculous. Just talking about like even putting color in your hair. Oh, your hair's not natural because you use color. Oh, you flat iron your hair 5 times a year. That's not natural anymore. You probably have heat damage. It was just like, can we just live? Can we just have our hair? It was like always something that people wanted to argue about.
It's tedious just listening to that. Like, it's like, really? I can't flat out my hair. I can't color my hair. I can't use gel. You were going to say something, Lakia?
Yeah, I agree with the ladies that just spoke here. And from my perspective, being a professional, I have heard people talk about their reasons why they converted to being natural. And a lot of the times, and people won't believe it, a lot of the times that they felt bullied to being natural because it was just said to do this thing and convert, and they did it just out of just that
crazy.
direction, not just because they felt like, okay, I can take the time, my lifestyle can fit this, whatever. They just did it because they wanted to, and they realized that they have been more frustrated being natural than continuing with their blowouts or being relaxed or wearing weaves or wearing color. So a lot of them didn't do it for the right reasons because they just been pressured to do it because of this new trend. And then a lot of people think that natural hair means healthy hair.
And
some of the most damaged hair I saw was natural hair because they constantly combing and brushing and manipulating, trying different products and not sticking to any regimen, doing over shampooing their hair. Like, it's so much. And a lot of times when people come to me and they never had a blowout before, and when I see their hair and I'm like, it's fried, boo. You need a trim, you know, or they'll try to trim it themselves and you'll see all the differences or, you know, whatever. And because they doing what YouTube University says or, you know, whatever. And it's like, you know, science is science. Theory is theory.
Yes.
So you can take what your hair really supposed to be doing in a healthy manner and applying that to what you're doing at home. But it's this, oh, because I'm natural, my hair is healthier than someone that's straight. No, it's not. Because when I look at it, it's chewed up, like a dog that bit in the back of your head. Like, it's crazy. So it doesn't mean it's healthy, so you shouldn't be looking down on someone who chooses to blow out their hair. It's not okay.
But it's just as you were saying with that being bullied, because I saw so much that whole, oh, you still using that creamy crack? What's wrong with you? And it's like,
it's the judgment that
it's
bothers me.
Because as you said, it became a trend for natural hair, and that was great because sometimes you need to be that follower to feel comfortable. It's like, okay, now I got the green light. It's okay to do this. But then, like you said, you see that bully to the adverse effect. It's like, if I still want to relax my hair, that's okay too. You know, it's just another option. But till this day, I still. Oh, or people may say, oh, I think I tried natural. I think I want to go back to get relaxed. And, what? Oh my God! You want to use that creamy crack? Girl, don't you do that? Like, really? If I want to go back, I can go back again.
And I also think it's very condescending. Have you ever had this happen to you? I have. When I'm wearing a weave or a wig or something like that, and a man or a woman who doesn't know me, they know nothing about me, they know nothing about how I feel about myself, feels the need to walk up to me and give me this speech about how I don't need to wear a weave or I don't need to straighten my hair to be beautiful. And I'm like, you don't know me. How dare I think it's so condescending, and I'm really opposed to becoming like the quote unquote oppressor. So whether you have a problem with natural hair, whether you have a problem with perms or enhanced hair in any sort of way, just let people do what they do. Let people do what they do. Okay, so I'm hearing that we do have this phone call. We're going to try this phone call one more time. After that, we got to keep it moving. Hello, caller.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. What is your name?
Hey, April, this is Tanny. I just wanted to chime in.
Hey, Tanny. Chime in, boo.
So, of course, when it comes to natural hair, as y'all were just speaking about, like, I have no problem with women going back and forth with whatever style they like to wear their hair in. My only gripe is when Black women especially think the only way for them to look beautiful and professional is for them to have long, straight hair going down their back. And it's like, no, that's the European standard of beauty. God made you so that your hair grows curly and upwards in a crown. And you should embrace that. If you don't want to, for whatever reason, how you like your style, that's on you. I just feel some type of way when women feel like, oh my God, I'm going to look too ethnic, or I don't want to look like a Black Panther, or I can never do anything with it, especially because, you know, some of these women have had up to 30 years dealing with relaxed hair. And then in the last 5, they've had to go with it straight and act like it's super hard. It's not. It's just you've had 30 years experience with straight.
All right. I can accept that. I agree with that. Any other ladies have any questions or comments about what Tanny said?
I love what she said. I will add as well, there's a lot of people that do not embrace wearing their hair in their natural form because of their lifestyle. Okay. You know, some people don't have the time and the luxury to twist their hair up every night and do all these things.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. Mm-hmm. And for some people, depending on, again, what their life looks like, they don't have time or the luxury, the bandwidth, even mentally and emotionally, to deal with that all the time. So it's easier. Yeah, sometimes it's, I mean, because my hair is natural, but I don't really wear natural styles because I do not have time. I do not. Mm-hmm. I'm servicing anywhere between 80 and 100 clients a day. I mean, a week, I'm sorry. So I don't have time for that. I don't.
Right.
So I don't have time. Every morning doing this, I don't have time. And also, it's not always, you know, I'm sure we all would love to have that luxury to be embrace our natural hair and for it to be fully accepted. But I think that realistically, you know, again, because I know a lot of these women, more often than not, that's their situation. They do not have the bandwidth to deal with that.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot. Because like one of my favorite hairstyles was my afro. But that was also the most difficult style to maintain. Because if you want to be able to pick through it in the morning, you kind of got to like chunk it up and twist it at night and do it. It was a lot. And just to have it like this, like I wear this because I feel the most beautiful and the sexiest I've ever felt when I wear my head bald. But it's also very convenient. Like I wake up, it cuts my getting ready time down by about a half an hour. I don't have to worry about my hair. I don't even brush my hair. I just get up, I throw some coconut oil on it, and I just keep it moving. Now, what I did notice over the weekend, I wore Tatiana, which is the wig that you cut for me. She was bad, you know, but I found myself constantly, like I had this little rat tail comb in my handbag, and I was constantly like, and I was like, I don't like that. Like, I don't like having to be cognizant of how I'm looking every freaking second. I don't miss that about having straight hair. Not at all.
And that's one of the things that I love about when I wear my hair natural. Because oftentimes I'll do the twist. I just didn't have time today. But I would normally, just do a twist, and that way I can style it, pin it up, what have you. But it's a whole lot easier to manage, and it'll last for a few days as opposed to wearing it straight. I gotta wrap it, then I gotta uncomb it, and like you said, then I gotta worry about the rain, and carrying around my little shower cap so the moisture, because my hair will puff up real quick.
It's pros and cons for everything, even down to when people ask me, what do I think the best products is for natural hair, because they want to know what to purchase. But I could never give them an answer, because you kind of got to go through that process of learning and figuring out what combination is going to work for you, what product is going to work for you. And these products can change depending on the season. You know what I mean? So you got to go through that process of having half-empty jars of product stored in your house because you realize that didn't work for you, and you got to buy something else. And you're going to have a whole lot of product and a whole lot of tools until you realize and you find what works for you, and it's expensive. So being natural can be costly.
It is. It's very costly.
You're going to spend a lot of time in product and just trying to figure it out, just learning. So it's really no easy way. You just got to find out what you're willing. It's like finding the best of two bad situations. Just find out what you're willing to accept.
Y'all hear this, fellas? It's hard being a woman. It's hard being a black woman with black woman hair. So keep your mouths off of our hair, okay? I want to go back to something that Kelly touched on. Earlier, Kelly kind of lightly touched on the good and the bad hair situation. Do you think that will ever go away with black women, or is that good and bad hair just going to be a thing?
I think we've come a long way, especially the conversation being brought to the forefront with movies and documentaries and everything. But I think as long as we have this indoctrination and the conditioning, this conditioning is long. It's like in the DNA at this point. It's going to be there for a while. But it's possible that at some point, especially if we all turn into like AI robots, we can stop dealing with it.
Right. Anybody else?
I think it's ever going to go away. I think it's just going to shift. Like we were talking about relaxed hair versus natural hair before, and now it's like natural hair and hair types and what type of hair, if it's locks or if it's in twists, is it a wash and go? So I think that overarching principle is still there. Is we just find a way to make it something else.
Yeah. So kind of like humans just seem to have this tribal nature. So if it's not good hair versus bad hair, it's going to be something else. Short hair versus long hair, straight hair, whatever. It just seems like we always find a way to categorize, but not only categorize, but to create this hierarchy based on the categorization. And like, honestly, I don't have a problem with the categorization. It's just the hierarchy that I have a problem with. Like, why can't it all be
the negative
good,
connotation?
Yeah. I think we have a phone call. Do we have another phone call? All right, let's go to the phones. Hey, caller.
How are you today?
Hi, who is this?
So this is Charmaine from Virginia.
Okay, Charmaine, what is your question or your comment?
So I had a comment. I have two comments. The first one is in regards to your last question, good hair, bad hair, if we'll go away from it. I think if we take back our own narrative, then yes, we can go away from good hair, bad hair. I believe that it's just a matter of degrees of management and taking back and owning that narrative and not letting other people define what is good hair, what is bad hair, because neither terms actually exist. So wanted to answer that one. And then prior to that, I was listening in, and I just want to point out that while the conversation seems to have been focused on what type of hair, why black people or black women may not necessarily wear their natural hair, and having the option to wear weaves or crochet or whatever, I was just wondering, did anybody actually take the time to think about the psychological trauma that has been done to the black woman in America that's associated with hair care and where this originated, as far as why we come to this point where we do want to hide our hair or feel that it's a luxury to wear our natural hair and to embrace that, and how do we start shifting away from that itself? Because at the end of the day, the main reason why these hairs, to include the Crown Act that was recently put in place back in California, which you guys talked about, The reason why we still have this conversation and why this still is an issue is because way back during slavery and the envious nature of the black woman's hair and the intricate designs and the flexibility, and perhaps I believe if we start embracing more of that side of it versus, and I'm not saying it's Eurocentric to wear your hair in weave or straight or not, because I personally also enjoy the flexibility of wearing different styles. And to be honest, if I put crochet or weave in my hair, it's because I like to color without damaging my own natural hair. Mm-hmm. But just keeping that in mind going forward, that this is literally psychological trauma that has been passed down not only through society structures, but also through our own families, because this has been put in place. And maybe if we can start changing the conversation like you're doing here now, talking about it, changing that conversation, but more importantly, owning that narrative and recognizing, regardless, if we as black women choose to embrace whatever hair we wear, it doesn't matter what anybody has to say about it, male, female, white, black, yellow, whatever.
Thank you so much, Charmaine. That was an amazing contribution to this conversation. Does anyone have any responses to what Charmaine said?
Yeah, I think that the educational piece is important because a lot of times the only things that people have, well, not have, but the only things that they're receiving as informational is influencers, social media, YouTube, all these different things, where they are it's more easier for them to receive this information. And it's not making excuses, but this is just what's really going on. They're more privy to retain the information that way versus doing the research on learning the history of black hair.
Yes.
And then the couple of films, for example, that has been out was very niche films about black hair. Was that Bad Hair? What was the Chris Rock movie? Good Hair? Yeah. So it was very niche. It wasn't talking about a whole lot of history when it comes down to tribal things, classism in Africa, or all these different things, even down to how people wore their hair in the Victorian age, just all these different things.
I was going to get to that because I don't think that it's all yes, black people, African Americans in America have been psychologically traumatized, but it's not all psychological trauma. White people invented wearing them damn wigs, okay? Those Victorian women, like weaves, they wore them long before they got to us.
Exactly.
It's like trickle down style when it comes to us or whatever. So that but Charmaine made some amazing points, and they are all valid, but it's just to think about it larger than just psychological trauma, because I don't think that it all is. And we have another call. Oh, wow, we're getting lots of calls on this. Let's go to the phones. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, who is this?
This is Patrick Scientific from WEAA. Hi, Kristen.
Hey, Patrick, how are you?
I'm doing all right. I have a question. For those with kids, I know you all have gone through this hair journey. How do you, how shall I say this, involve your children, and how do you give them the strength to make choices like you're making on their own? Because they're going to be the next ones that have to deal with the Crown Act and all the different ways that they can wear their hair and all the other things. And I'm sure someone's going to have to deal with my, goofy 8-year-old in around 10 years and the dumb things he might say, but hey, he's still going to be a guy. And, we're still going to do things. How do you work that in with your children? I'm going to take some of this advice to make sure my son doesn't say any of these goofy things that you've told us that you really don't like us guys saying. So I'm taking some notes here.
That's an excellent question, Patrick. So basically, how do you help your children have positive hair image for the most part?
I have a son, and it was funny because I thought I wouldn't have to deal with hair. I was kind of like, yes. Mm-hmm. And then when he was 7 years old, he started using that sponge.
That sponge, the curl sponge.
Yeah. And so we hit a crossroad, started sticking together. And I said, so, you either got to comb your hair out every day when we're sponging it, or it's going to start to lock up. And it's going to stay like that. And I said, I'll give you like a day or so to think about it. And then he said, I want it to stay like that. He ended up with these awesome freeform locks, right?
Yes, they are dope.
But then he had family members who were like, oh, yuck, you need to Can you break them apart? Can you twist them? Even my mother to this day, she still asks me when I'm going to take that nappy stuff out my hair. So, but my son would be like, no, I like my hair. And it wasn't a conversation between us. It was just him coming into it on his own. Now he's on his second set, and I wanted to cut my hair, and he's like, no, we have locks together. And it feels really good because as a boy, he gets up with his hair growing out his head, nappy or whatever, and I always tell him, healthy hair is good hair.
Yes.
So long as this is clean and we're moisturizing, go about your business. Your hair is just fine. And so I didn't really have a lot of conversation. It was more by example.
All right. Any other moms? How do you have that healthy hair image conversation with your kids?
My girls are natural. It's no relaxers, no perms. If you want to change your color, then you can wear wigs. But it's natural hair.
Okay.
My son, it's big, it's wild. He uses the sponge in his hair. He's 6. It's big, wild hair.
Oh.
But it's no weaves. It's none of that.
I love it.
Yeah, that was important for me to, because I have 2 little girls, so they're watching what I do. They're watching how I dress, how I style my hair. So I allow them to experiment. So they've been able to have their hair straightened, but more often than not, because they are natural, they've never done relaxers, but they get to see that versatility. So I keep them twisted. One, her hair looks pretty much just like my hair looks like hers. Hers was done first, but they like to look like mommy. So I'm like, I don't want to encourage you to always put heat in your hair, but to have fun with your hair. Your hair is yours. It's as you said earlier, an accessory. So you get to do what you feel comfortable doing. So I allow them to experiment with the twist, and once they get older, if they choose to cut it, they can cut it. If they want to put a little color in it, we'll talk about that later. But as they get older, they'll be able to do more things. But being confident, and whenever I style their hair, whenever I shampoo their hair, how do you want your hair? You get to, so they'll go on Google and they'll look up their little hairstyles and how they want it braided or twisted or what have you. And when I get up in the morning, when you get dressed, they have to look in the mirror. Do you like what you see? I love it. Are you confident? Is this what you want to look like today? Cool, now we can go.
I love it.
Yeah, my daughter's 18, so she has been a salon baby her entire life. She grew up being around me on my hip, just being there. And she was always in salons where there were stylists that specialized in their own things. So she's seen proud women wearing weaves, color, natural styles, twist outs, braids, she's seen it all. So she didn't have a biased perception to what beauty should look like. But she's also a free spirit. So I've let her experiment in very age-appropriate ways on how she can express herself. Now, one thing she's never done was put a relax in her hair. Okay. But she has experimented with styles, cuts, extensions, no extensions, braids. So I let her, she's a very free-spirited girl. She's the complete opposite of me, but I always let her know that you're free to be who you are, and you got to navigate what that looks like, because your hair is part of your identity. And I wish I had the space to have been able to make some decisions on my own growing up, because thank God I didn't have the options to mess up my hair, because I didn't have that. Right. But I'm giving her the freedom to be more expressionate with her hair, because she's more knowledgeable now that she's older. She never desired to get a relaxer. She never wanted to manipulate her hair in a permanent way, because she likes the freedom of switching up. Likes the freedom. But she loves, I want my hair cut. I want some lines cut in my hair. Okay, well, let's go to the barbershop. Let's go. Let's do it. Okay, Mom, you know what? I want to twist out, or I want to weave next week. Then sis, let's do it. You know what I mean? But because she has a professional in her life, I'm not going to let her just go to anybody. She has me there to give her the tools and the knowledge of knowing, okay, let me do it, or we're going to find the best barber. We're going to find the best this, the best that, So she has been able to experiment in a very safe and knowledgeable way.
I don't have any children, but I did have a very, very good mom, and I was a child. And if you're still listening, Patrick, I will say my mom and I never really had the hair conversation, but we always had the conversation about confidence and about beauty and about you are good enough just as you are. You are wonderful. Like my mom gave me pep talks every single day. And I think that if you instill confidence and just like self-acceptance and beauty into your daughters, that the hair won't really be such a big issue, because whether she braids it, whether she fades it, whether she weaves it, whether she blows it out, whether she relaxes it, she's still going to feel her beautiful self, because at the end of the day, she's being herself. All right, and it's looking like we are going to have to wrap up this conversation. I don't want to do it, but I think I will end on an upswing with tonight's topic. Hair goals. When you think of hair goals, immediately, who pops into mind?
Oh, Lord.
Honestly, I'm in love with Claire Huxtable.
Yes, that is a healthy head of hair, honey.
Baby.
Yes.
Yes, like that's for me, that's like that's for me, that's idol to me. Seeing that black woman, seeing that regalness, seeing her beautiful body, there's all that hair, all that body and volume in her hair. And for me, that's what I look at.
Okay.
Mine's Lisa Bonet.
Yes.
Yes.
I just love her hair, and just like she just looks like a goddess. Like every time I see her, I just love her.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, me, because I envisioned this hair though. Like when I saw myself with locks down the road, of course I skipped right to long because, shallow, et cetera, et cetera. So I have the hair that I saw in my vision.
I know that's
All right, I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. Nicola?
Debbie Allen.
Debbie Allen?
Yeah.
Okay. For me, I have two. I would have to say, like Kelly, I would have to say me, because I love my bald head. You can't tell me nothing about my bald head, okay? I love it. But I think overall, I just love this person's style, and her hair goes along with her style. Tracee Ellis Ross. You cannot tell.
Yes.
That is my
Beautiful
style
hair.
twin. I just want to live in her closet, and that mane,
Love
like
it.
when she lets
yes.
it go just like all the way wild, I absolutely love it.
Love that.
Okay, so we're going to wrap up with our second segment, which we have not done in I don't know how long. It's been so long since we've done Hourglass. And the whole concept of Hourglass is you can either look at life with the glass half empty or half full, right? So we're going to give you a few seconds, 30 seconds, whatever, to say something inspirational and motivational, or to bitch, moan, and complain. It's all on you. It's all on what you want to do. And we will let's start backwards. Let's go with Kelly and then bring it on back.
Okay, so what I've chosen is Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found, was blind, but now I see. That's just for anybody who's in a circumstance, maybe they're in a season where things are dark, or they feel like whatever they're going through, it won't turn around.
Mm-hmm.
It will. Things will get better. You can have another chance. Just stay here, stay faithful, and stay hopeful.
I love it. Elle?
Progress over perfection, and perfection is the enemy of progress.
I like it.
Love it. So, this has nothing to do with hair.
And that's totally fine.
We just came off of Valentine's Day weekend. So I want to say to all people of all colors, but especially to my black people, next year for Valentine's Day, we will not do Alfredo. We will not do it. We will not. You have a whole entire year to come up with some other Valentine's Day meal than Alfredo. Chicken, shrimp, I don't care, none. No Alfredo.
After all the meetings,
sold out
people still
everywhere.
did Alfredo. Oh no.
She said no Alfredo.
No
okay.
Alfredo.
Kia.
I am unable. Okay. I want us, everybody, to normalize reading.
Honey.
Read.
Yes.
It will save you
Yes.
so much, whether it's information for yourself and your health, you supporting the business, you just retaining any information that you need. Normalize reading and getting all of the knowledge you can before doing anything.
For me, no matter how bad your day was, tomorrow is a brand new day. You get a brand new start.
You do. I like that. And mine is, I guess it can be applied to any area of life. Love, money, profession, what have you. I just feel like right now we are living in such a poverty mentality type of society. Everybody's so concerned about giving something away and getting nothing in return. Everybody's so concerned about somebody taking advantage of them, somebody getting over on them. And we're so concerned about that we're walking around like this with these like tight fists. We don't want to let nothing out because we don't want to be taken advantage of. But you can't receive anything that way either. And I just want to encourage us all to focus less on what's being taken from us and more on what we can receive when we open our hearts, when we open our hands, when we open our minds. That's it, and that's all.
Love that.
So thank you so much, ladies of the panel, Kelly, Elle, Kristin, Lakia, and my girl Nicola. No edges, no holds barred. There you have it, black women, black hair. We'll see you next week. We don't know what we're gonna be talking about yet, but it'll damn sure be good. Okay. All right, so I think you ladies on Zoom can still hear me, I think. Okay, yeah. So thank you. We're not going to do an after party because 2 of our people have to get out of here early tonight. So we're just going to let everybody go, but we appreciate you. I love the conversation. I thought it was awesome. Thank you all for your contributions.